Hey guys, it's Mackenzie, your mommy's medium, and I'm back at ya again. I keep saying I'm gonna figure out a different way to open up the show, and I still haven't figured out one. So I guess this is my opening. At some point, maybe the production value of my little podcast will get a little bit better. Maybe I'll have some intro music to lead me in, but I still would have to say, hey guys, it's Mackenzie. So I guess you're just going to have to get used to that. And maybe it's just I need to get used to it. I said it the last time I had a problem with it. I just need to get okay with the fact that my opening is so lame. So lame. But oh well, it is what it is. I am here on a Tuesday. It's Podcast Tuesday. I'm doing it the way that it's supposed to be done. I'm still running a little bit behind. It's going on 11 o'clock, but I am doing it before noon. So I'm doing it well before I have to go pick up my son, which is really nice. Where did we leave off last week? Last week I had no insurance, or I was on the verge of not having insurance. I was waiting to receive a phone call that, guess what? Still haven't received. I still have not gotten a phone call. I called at the end of the day after everything was said and done. I gave it a little bit of time. I think I called maybe an hour before they closed just to make sure she was working on it. She had enough proper time to get to it. And yeah, no, I called in and nothing had been written on the account. No kind of notes or anything had been put on there. And every day after I called and nothing was given to me. Nobody knew what was going on. So it's like, I didn't know whether or not I was insured by Friday, and I still don't know. It's Tuesday. It's the 6th? The 5th? The 4th? The 5th. It's the 5th. It's the 5th. Regardless, I don't know. A week after the fact, I still don't know whether or not I am insured. I got an email yesterday saying, oh, your case has been resolved and what you wanted canceled is canceled, but the reference number that they put on the email is nothing like any of the reference numbers that I have for the 15 times that I've called this stupid call center. So of course I called yesterday at around, I think 3:30, and they said, there's a hour and a half wait time. So if you want us to give you a phone call back, put your number in. I'm like, sure, call me back. And again, I haven't gotten a phone call back. Like, what in the crap, man? Like, I don't even understand. And it's now 10:44, going on 11 o'clock. And if I was in the queue because maybe they had a longer call volume, it is 10 days from the deadline to switch your insurance. Maybe everybody's freaking out and everybody's calling in because stuff isn't going right. Or maybe because people are saying, oh, we'll call you back, and they're not calling people back. Maybe their stuff is being flooded with calls, and I was put on the queue for the next day, but still haven't gotten a phone call. So I don't know. I guess I'm not insured for this month. I don't know. I'm gonna call them, I guess, again later on today and see if I can't talk to somebody and they can tell me what reference number this thing was closed out on, because I don't have any of those reference numbers. I don't know what that is. And if we're not insured, I'll just have to ask the universe to have mercy on my soul, unlike it's been doing the last couple of months, the whole year of, I guess, 2017. Just have mercy on me and not have anything crazy happen to me or my son. Like I said, for me, I don't get sick, and if I do get sick, I'm usually able to take care of myself. It's the kid that I'm worried about. He's a daredevil. He wants to flip and do karate chops and do all kinds of cartwheels and everything while there's things on the floor that can impale him. And it's, I don't want him to live in a bubble, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want you to stab yourself with the 45 swords that you have on the ground because you feel like you have to have swords, like you're a ninja or something. So yeah, I'm hoping this whole insurance thing gets cleared up. And if we're not insured, just fine. We have how many more days? 26 more days to the end of the month. Just give us the 26 more days to be chill and not have any problems. And fine, I'll take my little $500 because it's not like the insurance is free. That's what I don't understand about the whole thing. Like, the girl was giving me such attitude about, well, we can't reinstate you if you canceled it. I'm giving money. I'm giving you money. It's not like I'm asking you to give me insurance for free. I'm giving you $500 to insure me. So why won't you take my money? I don't understand. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. If we're not insured, then I'll just have an extra $500 that we can do something with, and I'll just make sure not to touch that money until the first of the year. So the universe won't say, oh, okay, I see you wanted your little $500. I'm going to give you $500 to spend. Because the universe hates me. But anyway, so yeah, and in other news, I'm supposed to be starting my workout routine this week. That was supposed to happen on Monday. Of course, it's Tuesday, and I still haven't done anything. And I was debating on whether or not I'm still going to try to do it today. I'm trying to get my butt in gear to start working out because I've been a slack ass for the last 7 months. I was doing really well with working out. I was doing it every day, or the workout routine that I was doing was every 6 days. And I was doing really good at it. And I went to Vegas at the end of April and then went to Texas at the beginning of May. And that's all she wrote. I haven't worked out since. I haven't done anything whatsoever, which is funny because I've gotten more compliments after than while I was working out. When I was working out, I was like, man, it looks like my butt is tighter. Everything looks like it's toned. My chest is like getting really defined and whatever. My arms look great. Nobody said a thing. The entire summer that I wasn't working out, everybody's like, oh my God, have you lost weight? Oh my God, your butt looks so perky. And I'm like, I haven't been doing anything. So is that what I need to do? Not do anything? But I don't want to do that because I know, like I've been, I guess that's the universe balancing things. They're like, yay, girl, you know, you're going to lose a couple of expensive items, but everybody's going to compliment you on what your body looks like, even though you haven't been working out. So, you know, you gotta balance it out. It's a whole balancing act, I guess. But no, I've been saying that I've been wanting to get back into working out, and I even purchased a Groupon, which I am going to be talking about more than likely 3 podcasts from now. I'm going to be doing a cycling class, which I'm really excited about. Apparently, there is a cycling studio right down the street from my house. My family and I, on Saturday mornings, we go to Starbucks. Like, that's our family ritual, which is an expensive ass ritual if there ever was one. But we go to Starbucks every Saturday, sometimes also Sunday mornings. And, you know, we get our coffee, he gets his little Danish or whatever. And I would notice people standing out on this sidewalk that was nowhere near a bus stop. And I always thought it was weird. I'm like, is there a, you know, are they waiting for the bus stop? But right here, there happens to be like some kind of heat vent. So they're trying to keep warm, you know, what's going on. And then one particular Saturday, because the traffic was backed up, I was able to look directly over and see that it was nothing but women, and they were crowded around a door, and the door had a cycling person on it. And I was like, oh my God, there's a cycling class right here. It's so close to me. And I really always wanted to do one of those things. Of course, you read like Us Magazine and it's like, oh, so-and-so is doing Soul Cycle. And it's like, I want to cycle. I want to do cycling. Like, that seems like fun. Except I looked on their website and it doesn't look like fun. No, it does. It looks like fun. It just looks like fun that's gonna kill me type fun. They have music. It's like you're in a nightclub. There's strobe lights, all kinds of stuff. They even have classes where you can cycle and use weights, all kinds of craziness. And it's like, I really want to do it, but I'm really afraid. And that's why I at least want to get into some kind of workout routine to kind of build up my stamina, so that when I do this new class, which is only 30 minutes. The beginner's class is only 30 minutes, which I think shouldn't kill me. But at the same time, for somebody who hasn't worked out in 7 months, it might literally put me on my deathbed, and I don't have insurance. So I want to go ahead and build up my, you know, my stamina and start working out. So I at least have a little bit of workout underneath me to start this class. So once I actually do the class, of course, I'll do, you know, a little segment and let you guys know how it is. Maybe, hopefully I'll still be alive after it. So yeah, so I'm trying to get back into working out, and it's like trying to work it around my schedule that I'm doing now, especially with the podcasting and everything. I don't know. That's going to be a balancing act in and of itself. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. So hopefully it's like I'll do this podcast and my brain won't be overworking to like say like, oh my God, I need to go ahead and edit right now, and I'll be able to go work out. It's literally 30 minutes worth of time. It's not a lot of effort. It really isn't. It's just getting yourself in that mode to say, okay, I'm going to work out. I'm going to take the pre-workout. I'm going to take, you know, all the stuff and get changed, and, you know, all that jazz, which, you know, ends up being what makes you not want to work out. All the pre-stuff to get to the workout is what makes you not want to work out. At least that's how it feels with me. So I don't know. We'll get back to it. And if I do end up this week completing my workout. I'll talk about it next week in next week's podcast so you guys can know what workout routine that I've been doing, because a lot of people have been asking me, and it is a really good workout program. It's free. So hopefully, like I said, I'll get myself on track and I'll be able to do that, and then I'll talk to you guys about it. So yeah, and if I do, while you're listening to this podcast, if my voice or the sound quality changes a little bit, just know it's because they're doing leaf collection around here, and they already went down my street on my side earlier, which is a little bit why I was delayed as well, because I heard them coming down, and so I was like, let me just sit and wait for them to pass and all that jazz so you wouldn't hear it. But that means that at some point they should be coming back up the street. So if you hear sound quality that's different, it's because I had to stop, because they literally go by like at 2 miles an hour, picking up leaves, trying to avoid cars and swerving it out and all that kind of junk. And it'll probably be something that if I have to stop, I might get up, drink some water, go to the bathroom, which means my audio is going to change. My voice is going to change and all that kind of stuff. It happens. But I just wanted to let you know so you're not thinking, I don't think you would think anything, actually. It's more of me. I know I would hear the audio change and it would annoy me. So I just want you to know beforehand, because, I'm a perfectionist and I can't help but, want you to think that everything is perfect with this podcast, even though it isn't, even though I'm all over the place, even though, I have a structure. I have everything written down. I have all my notes in front of me, but sometimes I go, off on a tangent like I am right now, talking about all kinds of stuff, even though what I'm talking about right now is in my notes. It's in my notes, but I've been talking about it for way too long. So let's go ahead and get to it. Let's get the show started. Oh, and also, I've been hearing in the audio that there's music. So if you hear the music pick up, I'm sorry. Again, it's the stupid radio station that's close by. I just heard it when I went silent for myself, looking over my notes. So if you hear, a little bit of, I don't know what kind of radio station it is that it's playing music, but I hear a low level of it. And if you hear it too, I'm sorry. It's the solar flares. There's no sun out. The sun is not flaring the way that it's supposed to be, but I guess maybe if it's cloudy, I pick up radio. I don't know. Who knows these things? So in my top stories, obviously, in no particular order, like I always do, number 1 is Jennifer Lawrence and Darren Aronofsky splitting. Now, this thing happened actually officially back in October, but the news didn't hit until sometime in November. I want to say it was the week of Thanksgiving. Remember, I didn't do that podcast because I remember having it up on my phone to reference. I just never got to it. So they split up. They said they're going to remain friends, blah, 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 blah. And the thing is, I'm assuming that right now they are keeping it professional, because if they did split back in October, they were spotted in November sitting together at the governor's ball. So maybe they are keeping things copacetic right now, when it comes to celebrities, when they split and stuff like that, that they always end amicably. It's always somebody who's going to take a dig at somebody else later down the line. I remember when I was sitting at my hair salon the other day, they were talking about it on, I don't even know what was on the TV. It was one of those little talk shows or whatever. And they were saying that the fact that they broke up, a big portion of it had to do with their age difference. Well, duh. She's 26, he's 48. That is a very big age difference. But in Hollywood world, that's also what probably in everyday normal life is the equivalent of 5 years, and people make it work. But yeah, she said that one of the things that made them break up is the fact that he always, at some point, wanted to talk about the movie. Now, the movie that I'm talking about is the movie Mother. Mother is his brainchild. He wrote Mother, he produced Mother, he directed Mother, and she starred in Mother, and that's how they met. So they met on the set of this movie. She said that she felt a certain kind of way about him. She didn't know how he felt about her, but eventually the two of them started to talk about the fact that they do like each other. They sparked romance rumors back in September of 2016, right after the movie wrapped. And as of 2 months later, it was kind of confirmed by the fact that they went on a nice little PDA-filled romance walk around New York where they hugged and kissed and, went to dinner and all that kind of jazz. But after the movie actually wrapped and everything was edited, and the movie, I believe, was released just a couple of months ago. I remember seeing a couple of promos for it, and I was like, I don't even know what the crap this is. But I was watching, it might have been the MTV movie awards or music awards is what it was. And because I was flipping through it, because I normally DVR that kind of stuff so I can just, get past all the commercials and stuff like that, I kept seeing promos for Mother. So I guess towards the end of the relationship, when Mother came out, he was always talking about the movie. And the way she works is she's like, we had to do promos, we had to do the sit-down interviews, we had to walk the red carpet and all that kind of stuff. Once I've done that, I want to leave it where it was, where he wants to keep talking about it. She said he would bring up, magazine articles, news clippings and stuff like that, talking about the movie and how people were receiving the movie and how this person, read a review on this and all that kind of stuff. And I guess that towards the end is what broke her. From what I read, no one's saying who broke up with who. It's just they split amicably. They went their separate ways. And if that's how it is, actually, kudos to them. But something tells me that there's going to be a little bit more to the story later on down the line. Number 2, Kaley Cuoco, which every time I'm about to say her name, I feel like I'm going to mess it up, but I said it perfectly, so I probably won't say it ever again to make sure I don't mess it up. But let's see. Kaley Cuoco got engaged to her boyfriend of almost 2 years, Karl Cook. He proposed to her on November 30th, which is also her 32nd birthday, which is like 2 birds, 1 stone. Did he also get her a birthday gift? Is my question. You proposed to me on my birthday, great, but did I still get a birthday gift? Wondering about that. But anyway, yes, it is to her boyfriend of nearly 2 years, Karl Cook. He posted the tearful acceptance of his proposal on his IG account. I watched the video and she's crying and, oh my God, I can't believe you did this. There's people in the background laughing. There's music playing, whatever. And he's like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, we're engaged. She was like, you didn't even say, yes or not. She's like, oh, of course, yes. And it's extra cheesy, extra cheese and pep. I don't like that kind of stuff. But at the same time, this is her proposal and this is him filming it, so they can do whatever they want. Don't listen to me. He also followed up with a video on his Instagram account with them dancing after her acceptance to Ed Sheeran's Perfect, which now they've ruined that song for me. Anytime I hear that song, I'm going to think about the two of them with him holding the stupid phone in selfie mode while they're dancing to this song after she accepts his proposal. I don't know. Like, okay, great. Film the actual engagement, afterwards and her reaction to it. But then to sit and film the fact that you guys are dancing after the fact to this song and she's crying and it's like, I love you. I love you. Now that is extra cheesy. It's great. I guess, again, I'm probably being a curmudgeon the way I'm always being a curmudgeon. I've just never liked really overly sappy stuff. Now, to her, to be able to have this documentation is probably going to be the best thing in her life, to be able to look back at that moment and see her crying and she has the ring on and it's a big ass rock. That rock is huge. I'd be crying over that rock as well. But then to see them dancing and seeing how much they're in love, after the fact, she's probably going to swoon and ooh and ah about that for years to come, if they last that long. But she'll probably swoon and ooh and ah for years to come over that video, and their kids will be able to see that video and all that kind of stuff, if they make it that far. But, and that's really sweet. So, but of course, me at the time, I'm like, it's overkill. It's a little overkill, but, whatever. On the clip of them dancing, he says, and I quote, this is how he captioned it, which... The purity and grace of the moment are inexplicable. It is truly as though life were a balloon bouncing on the smoothest zephyr. Honey, all I want to be is a balloon bouncing, bobbing, and flowing through life together. You are my everything. Yeah. Okay, so when I think about people like this, falling in love, okay, they're very emotional and they're very like, oh my God, I have to feel everything in the moment. And the reason why I guess also this makes me kind of cringe is because I have a friend right now. I won't name her name. You guys probably already know who she is because I mention her a lot. But she's going through boy troubles. Lots of boy troubles over the last couple of months. And the current boy trouble she's having is the boy being extra needy, but at the same time, he's not being extra giving. And, we were talking about the fact that and I'm going to go off, of subject like I always do, kind of. I'm still on subject, but not on the thing that I'm talking about. But we were talking about G-Eazy and Halsey releasing a video together. Now, G-Eazy and Halsey have only been dating literally 3 months, maybe 4. As far as we know, that's when they started documenting the fact that they're a boyfriend and girlfriend on Instagram. But they've already released a song and a video together showing this love, this all-encompassing love, like, oh my God, we're so in love. And you look at it and you're like, dang, where does that kind of love come from? It comes from people who are overly emotional and write stuff like this. And a couple months from now, G-Eazy and Halsey probably won't even be a thing, which that's what makes me sad about the whole thing, because you're like, oh my God, their love seems so great, and it's not perfect, because they even talk about how not perfect it is in the song, but at the same time, like, oh my God, he feels it and she feels it. And of course, you think in your mind, she's going to feel it even more than he feels it, because, girls are already pegged. And I'll say it too. Girls are already, ready to be swept up and in love. Not all girls, but a good majority of girls. But when it's the guy also taking part in it, you're like, dang, where did you find that guy at? And that's where I feel like, where are these guys hiding? But at the same time, that's why I joke that if Kaley and Karl, and I just realized they're both K's, Kaley and Karl with a K, I hope their kids are K's and they create a whole little Kardashian clan with KKK crap going on again. But anyway, but that's why I'm like, the fact of if they make it, because I feel like when people, especially guys, get wrapped up in this, they're overly emotional as well, and then as quickly as those emotions flood into them, when they flood out, they're ready to jump ship. So I don't know, I'm trying not to be a curmudgeon, but right now, because my friend is going through what she's going through, it makes me a curmudgeon about love and, people who fall so quickly, and girls who are able to get these guys, and I say get these guys to propose. I shouldn't say it that way, but at the same time, I'm sure there's a lot more girls waiting to be proposed to than there are guys that are waiting to propose to a girl. So that's all I'm saying about that. But anyway, going back to the whole Kaley Cuoco getting engaged thing, you know her from Big Bang Theory. I hate that show. My nephew loves that show, but I can't stand I can't stand it. And anytime we go to visit, he has it on, and it makes me hate it even more. He's actually a professional equestrian from the Bay Area, which, if you don't know the word equestrian, that means that he is a professional horse rider, which I didn't know. I mean, I said I didn't know, but I guess I do know. People, that means that they ride horses professionally, and that's how they make their money. I assume by doing jumps and racing. I don't even know, but yeah. But he also is backed by the fact that his dad co-founded Intuit, which is a computer type thing. I believe it has to do with microchips, the hard drives that are in your computer that make your computer run and keep the memory on your computer. And his mom runs some kind of professional horse racing barn or something. I say barn, it's probably bigger than my entire area that I live in, filled with horses. But yeah, he comes from money. And she rides as a hobby too, which means that she comes from money. Anybody who can say, "Oh, I ride horses as a hobby," they have money. That's their thing. They have money. But yeah, so she says that's one of the things that she loves most about their relationship, is that they share a love of riding and a love of horses, and she thinks that people need to have things in common to be in a relationship, which is like, yeah, duh. So, good for her. She finally found her match. She was previously married to Ryan Sweeting, who was a professional tennis player. When, I guess at the time that they got married, he had retired, I think. I don't know. The way it reads in articles is that he was a former tennis player. So I assume he retired from playing tennis. I'm not sure. I've never heard of him. I don't follow tennis unless it's Serena and Venus, and that's all I know. She got married to him on New Year's Eve of 2013, and they split 21 months later. They were engaged after only 3 months of dating, which is like, okay, another duh as to why I think that they only lasted 21 months. So if you add it all up, they met 3 months, got engaged 3 months later, they got married, and then that's 6 months, and then 21 months later, they were filing for divorce. So that's 27 months. So basically, about 3 years, which is about the course of a normal relationship, if you want to be honest. Like, if you think about it, a normal relationship lasts about 2 to 3 years. So if they had just sat, I talked about this last podcast, where people just kind of jump into, oh, I really like this person, let's get engaged, let's get married. And it's like, if you just take your time and slow it down and give it time, you would probably see you don't really like this person that much. You're just getting swept up in the moment and the feelings that you have for them. But once you live together and you're cohabitating, and he's leaving toothpaste all over the toothpaste tube, and you're leaving all your products all over the counter, and he doesn't close drawers, and you don't fold sheets, you guys start to learn, like, oh, this person's not for me. But yeah, so her and her husband, the previous husband, split up. And I don't know, like, my brain last night, as I was trying to go to sleep because I was doing show prep, my brain was working in overdrive, as it does sometimes. You know, my husband gets annoyed by it because he thinks that I'm doing it on purpose, but it's literally my brain doing it. But her and her husband officially split up in May of 2016. They say that her and Karl have been dating for almost 2 years. So if her divorce was final in May of 2016, and from what I see in the news, when I look up her relationship with Karl, it says that they started dating in September of 2016. So if he just proposed to her in November, that would make them only together a year, not 2 years. Now, he posted on his Instagram with the video where he's, you know, showing that she's all emotional over him proposing to her, that he's saying, you know, after nearly 2 years, I have finally gotten up the courage to ask her. So were they dating while she was still married? You know me, I'm a conspiracy theorist, and it's not because I was looking for it. It's just because, like, my brain couldn't match up the dates, and my brain does that on its own. There's times where I am woken up from my sleep because my brain is working on something, and at the same time is putting it in my dreams, and then I'm having, like, waking dreams like, wait a minute, what was that? And yeah, my brain was like, in May of 2016, her divorce was final, and then her and the guy started dating in September of 2016, and now it's November of 2017. That doesn't make 2 years. That's not 2 years. Like, what is that? So I call shenanigans on that one. But either way, I hope the best for them. I hope that they make it and have gorgeous little blonde-haired, skinny-ass children, because he is skinny. But I guess to be a horse rider, you have to be light. You have to be really tiny. Some of them are really tiny. He's pretty tall. But I guess it's the horse racers that are really short and little. So I'm guessing if you're a professional horse, I don't even know, how do you, like, ride horses professionally? Like, what does that entail? I don't know. But he's tall and very light, like waif light. He's like little. So yeah, I hope that they make it. I hope this is, like, legit for her, because to have 2 divorces under your belt, that has to hurt. She even said after her and Ryan split up, it made her look at marriage in a different light than she did before, and it made her sad that that's how she looked at marriage. She said she still believed in love, and I guess that's why her and Karl were able to go the distance of nearly 2 years, which is not 2 years. But she's able to find love again, is because she still believed in love, but she didn't really feel the same way about marriage, which I don't know. I don't know if that's going to taint it or not. I'll leave it. I'm just going to leave it to the earth, the moon, and the stars to help these two make it to the altar and actually, you know, stay as a couple. And moving on to number 3, Chrissy Teigen and John Legend are expecting baby number 2. Now, Chrissy announced this on her Instagram account featuring a video with her daughter Luna on November 21st. And in the video, she has her daughter is laying on her stomach, and she's like, "What's in mommy's belly?" And Luna says, "Baby." And it's so cute, and it's the cutest way to announce that you're pregnant. She even captioned the video, "It's John's," which, why did you have to say that it's John's? And John replied in a little cheeky fashion, "Maury will have the final word on this," which I think that is so funny and so cute. The two of them as a couple, I don't know, like, I love John Legend. I love John Legend's voice. When he started dating Chrissy Teigen, I was like, why? I didn't think that she was very attractive at the time. She kind of has a little smushed in face to me. But over the last couple of maybe year or two, I've kind of fallen in love with Chrissy Teigen. She's really funny. She's really down to earth. she's one of those people that, you know, when you're seeing it and it feels like they're trying to be down to earth and you're like, okay, whatever. But then I've actually been following her on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, no, Chrissy Teigen is actually pretty down to earth. She's a Victoria's Secrets model. Yeah. But she's also seems like she's cool peeps. Like you could actually hang out with her. She'd make you some bomb ass food because she does a lot of cooking, which blows my mind. But yeah, she seems really down to earth and really cool to hang around. And the fact that she also is very open and honest about her fertility struggles also makes me like her even more. You know, I don't know if I've actually ever admitted it on the podcast or not, but I had fertility struggles of my own, and it makes you feel like you're a part of something when you know that other people have gone through it as well. You feel like when you're going through it, you're the only one, that you are by yourself, so you don't talk about it and you hold it all in. And she said it as well, that there weren't enough people talking about it. So she talked about it. Her and Tyra Banks at the time had talked about it as well. And this new baby was conceived via a frozen embryo that she had at the time her and John initially started trying. At the time that they did IVF, she had 3 really good quality embryos. They implanted one, which didn't work. She implanted another one, which is Luna, and then she had this one frozen, which is going to be baby number 2. She also went on Snapchat the next day after the Instagram video and posted a side photo of herself being pregnant, saying that people had already, you know, when she finally released the news that, oh, you know, we're pregnant, people were like, well, yeah, duh, we kind of figured, because she does look like she's very far along. And being smaller, if you're a model, you're a very small type person. Baby number 2, unlike baby number 1, if you guys don't know, people always say that your second baby shows a lot quicker because your body knows what to do. Initially, your body is trying to figure out this whole new change that it's going through. So, you know, it does a little bit slower. When you're on baby number 2, your body just expands and does what it needs to because it's done it before. She revealed that she was trying for baby number 2 to E! News way back in November. And again, people are saying like, oh, well, we don't know what the sex of the baby is. I believe I read an article about a year ago when she had first talked about the fact that, you know, Luna was conceived via IVF and that she had chosen the sex of the baby, and people were giving her flack for that because they were like, you know, you should just be happy that you're getting a baby and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, it's not that I chose it. It's those were the only embryos that we had. And guess what? I already know what baby number 2 is going to be. It's going to be a boy because that's the only embryo we have left. So you heard it here first. I believe baby number 2 is a boy, even though right now they're like, oh, nobody's confirmed whether or not it's a boy or a girl. If I remember correctly, unless I was reading some 2-bit tabloid that was just making up stuff, I believe she said that baby number 2 would be a boy as long as everything went as planned. Because, yeah, people love to hate on Chrissy Teigen. She's very open and honest about her life. And because she's open and honest, other moms find the need to mom shame. If you're not a mom, you know, that is the world of momming. There's a lot of moms that feel like they have to talk about, well, you didn't put your baby in the car seat right. You're not wearing your baby right. I see it all the time. I see people wearing babies wrong all the time, and it irks my nerves because it's like you're wearing the baby wrong. But I don't make it a point to go up to tell them like, oh, excuse me, I just wanted to let you know your baby, when you're wearing them, they should be right at chest level, enough for you to put your head down and kiss their head. If you're not doing that, then you're wearing your baby wrong. Okay, thanks. I just wanted to let you know. You know, I don't feel the need to do that. Although I feel like, you know, we all should also be a village. You know, the village is a big ass world, but we should be a village to be able to go up to each other and say, oh, hey, you know, just so you know, when you're wearing the baby, you should be able to kiss your baby's forehead. They should be that close to you and not so low. That'll not only help the baby, but that'll help you and your back as they get bigger. But, you know, at the same time, because there's so many mom shamers out there, people who want to make you feel bad about not breastfeeding, Giselle Bundchen, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, it pops up in your head like it does to me sometimes. I'm like, I see somebody with a bottle. It's like, oh, why didn't they breastfeed? And it's like, Mackenzie, chill yourself. You know, it doesn't matter why they're not feeding it. That could be breast milk in there and they just decided they don't want to breastfeed in public. Like that's their groove. That's what they want to do. Like, leave them to their own devices. I covered myself up all the time when I breastfed. There's women who just pot a boob and put their baby's mouth on it and they're okay with their boob just being out in the world, and that's them. So But anyway, so yeah, I'm really happy for Chrissy Teigen and John Legend having baby number 2. Luna is ultra cute. She's very cute. I always see her little Snapchats and her little Instagram videos. So I'm glad that these two are procreating because they do seem like very cool peeps. Number 4 is Jay-Z finally admitting his infidelity, if you didn't already know. Everybody kind of already knew, but him actually talking about it is the first time in this forum. He did an exclusive interview with The T, the New York Times style magazine. In the article, he's quoted as saying, you know, most people walk away, and like divorce rate is like 50% or something because most people can't see themselves. The hardest thing is seeing pain on someone's face that you caused and then have to deal with yourself. So, you know, most people don't want to do that. You don't want to look inside yourself, and so you walk away. And I have to kind of like commend Beyonce and Jay-Z. Beyonce and Jay-Z have had problems all through their relationship. This is not anything new. The whole infidelity thing, people have been talking about infidelity on Jay-Z's side since like 2013. It came to a head when Solange was beating on his ass in that elevator after the Met Gala in 2014. So people already knew that there was a lot of infidelity going on with Beyonce and Jay-Z. It just became a big thing, or a thing where it's like she actually acknowledged it when she came out with Lemonade. Lemonade talks up and down about him messing with somebody named Becky with the good hair. You know I kept it sexy. I know I kept it fun. I'm checking on your phone and I feel like I'm going crazy. You know, she was talking about infidelity and everybody was like, okay, is this autobiographical or is she just pulling from, you know, her alter ego Sasha Fierce, who we haven't heard from in a couple years? Do you remember Sasha Fierce? She was for one album and then Sasha went away. I want Sasha to come back. But yeah, so she's talking up and down in this album about infidelity, and you're like, okay, so there were always rumors 3 years ago about Jay-Z messing around, then Solange was like whooping on his ass in the elevator, and now you come out with this album where she's talking multiple times about it. So it's like, wow, Jay-Z, like what are you doing? Like, you're messing around on Beyonce? I'm not saying that Jay-Z is ugly, but he's not the most attractive man. Beyonce is fine as hell. Okay, and you're messing around on her. Realize that if you weren't Jay-Z with money, you would not be able to do what you're doing with these women that are trying to be your side pieces. They're only doing it so they can say, he was messing around with me on Beyonce. That means I'm finer than Beyonce. That's what they're doing. That's the only reason why they're doing it. They're not doing it because you're hot. They're not doing it because of that. They're doing it because they can be one up on somebody else. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. Getting back to the story. He also alluded to being unfaithful on one of his songs from 444, which I still haven't listened to that album. I want to listen to the album, but again, because it's not on Spotify, I'm not doing it. I'm not buying an album. I'm not going to pay whatever Apple prices are for an album. My niece more than likely has it. Hey, Tay, can you burn that copy when I see you in January? I'll get it, just like I got the Lemonade album. I didn't have Lemonade until this summer because I was like, I'm not paying for it. I'm not doing that. I pay $15 a month for Spotify. If you want me to listen to your album, you can put it on Spotify. I'm not going on your music service just to listen to your album and her album. That's just ridiculous. So yeah, Tay, burn me that album. I know you probably have it. But he goes on to say that both of them use music as their therapy for their relationship. So they were supposed to have done a joint album together. Her side of the album came along quicker than his side, so that's why she released Lemonade. And then he still used music as therapy, but not to the extent that she did. But he says that he's ultra proud of Lemonade. He's ultra proud of the fact that she was able to put pen to paper her feelings. And he said it was uncomfortable listening to each other's words and seeing how each other felt in the moment and the reason why they did what they did. But that's the reason why they're still able to be together and bring their new babies into the world and continue their marriage. So kudos to them if that's how they do it. Jay-Z and Beyonce together, they make so much money. They are the king and queen of music. So I don't see them divorcing anytime soon. He would be a stupid man to divorce Beyonce. I don't know Beyonce from Adam, but it would be a stupid thing on his part to let somebody who obviously is ride or die the way she is. They've been together since 2003. That is a long time. And she has been with him through a lot of stuff. I mean, it took him forever to propose to her. And she sat there. And there's a couple of songs back in the day that he wrote alluding to her wanting things from him that he wasn't ready to give her. So he would be a dumb man to let something down the line separate them as a couple. And number 5, to round out the top stories, the Grammy nominees were announced last week, and Jay-Z, Kendrick Lamar, and Bruno Mars are taking the lead on these nominees. Jay-Z leads the pack with 8, Kendrick follows up with 7, and Bruno Mars has 6. Now, the Grammys will air January 28th of 2018. I am super duper excited for it. I'm actually trying to see if I can actually remember that is going to come on so I can actually record it and then follow up and watch all the stuff if I don't watch it live. I tend to not watch this stuff live, mainly because I hate sitting through commercials and stuff like that. But, you know, if it's on a Sunday night, which they usually are, I'll probably tune in while I'm getting my son ready for bed or something. We'll see. But anyway, the nominees are as follows. Your nominees for Record of the Year are Redbone by Childish Gambino, Despacito by Luis Fonsi, Daddy Yankee featuring Justin Bieber, The Story of OJ by Jay-Z, Humble by Kendrick Lamar, and 24 Karat Magic by Bruno Mars. Album of the Year goes to Awaken My Love by Childish Gambino, 444 by Jay-Z, by Kendrick Lamar, Melodrama by Lorde, and 24 Karat Magic by Bruno Mars. So that was the main stuff. Hopefully, I didn't get any blips, which I'm thinking I got some blips. So it's moving slow. I wasn't on Chrome this time. I was on Safari, and I have the old version of Safari, and this is moving hella slow. Oh my God, if I got blips, I'm gonna punch somebody in their face. But anyway, I'll just move on. I'm gonna go ahead and go on with the show and hope that there was no blips. And if there wasn't, I'll have a list of all the nominees. No, I won't. You can just look them up on rollingstone.com or Google it. Go on to Google and look them all up. Because I wasn't gonna write all that down. I was gonna take it directly from the website, and that's why I was like, let me just go on to Safari, and maybe Safari won't have the same troubles that I was having with Chrome, but maybe it's Audacity. Audacity is I don't know. Audacity is being rude to me. Somebody's being rude to me. Audio gods, don't be rude to me. But if you being rude to me means that I won't have any like insurance related things for the next month, go ahead, so be it. Moving on to today's topics. In my Ooh Girl category, we have Stranger Things being renewed for a 3rd season. Like, duh. Of course it got renewed for a 3rd season. Why wouldn't it get renewed for a 3rd season? It is on fire. I finished season 2 last month, and I am already ready for season 3. It's so good. It's such a good show. And of course, because of the fact that, and I told you this was a pet peeve of mine, of new shows nowadays, especially on streaming services, they aren't very long. They don't have a full season the way a regular network broadcast TV show has. If you have your NBC, your ABC, your CBS, which I've never watched a show on CBS, I don't think, in my entire life, other than CSI Miami at that. But other than that, all the other shows usually run for 22 to 24 episodes. At the very least, 20 to 22 episodes, okay? And now there's this new thing on your premium cable channels and your streaming services where shows only have to run 9 episodes, 10 episodes, 12 episodes at the most. And then it's like, oh my God, it's such a great show. And it's like, yeah, it's a great show, but it doesn't have as many episodes. So it has the potential to run for 4 million years because of the fact they're only doing half of a season that a normal television show does, which I think is kind of, I don't know, I guess it's kind of poopy. I feel on the writer's part for a regular broadcast TV show, because they have to put in more effort and more time into keeping a show fresh and vital and people wanting to come back to it, as opposed to these shows where they can literally put in half of the effort and get 10 times more love. Like, oh, I can't believe, such and such a show is already dwindling in ratings and whatnot, and they're only in their 2nd season. Well, if they were on Netflix, they'd be on their 4th season. So cut them some slack. That's not fair. But no, I'm really excited that they're renewed for a 3rd season. The news came out on December 1st. The actual return date is to be determined, but I'm assuming since season 1 got released around October of last year and this one got released in October, that we'll probably have another October release date as well. The creators of the show said that they believe the show will only go for about 4 seasons, which sent people into a tizzy when they actually did a interview where they said it was only going to go for 4 seasons. And they said, the thing is, we want it to be a good and fresh show, just like I was saying, but the fact that they want to keep it to a point where it's not just going on just for the sake of going on, the most that they'll do is probably 5 seasons, and that's it, which of course everybody is dying like, no. But if you think about it, I mean, it's only on season 2. If they say that they're going to give they're going to go to a season 4, maybe season 5, that's 3 more years, guys. Those kids are going to be going to college by the time that they finish. So, especially when you're doing a show with kids, you can't go for that long. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can probably do a time jump, I guess, but will that work? That I think one of the main things that works about the show and makes the show so appealing is because it has this Goonies feel. It's set in the 1980s, 1984 as a matter of fact, and it has this feeling of nostalgia that people my age feel from watching movies where kids had adventures. I don't feel like kids have adventures anymore. Where are all the kid adventure movies? They're gone. You had E.T., you had Goonies and stuff like that, and they don't do that anymore. And if they do, I don't know, I feel like they make the kids seem smarter than the adults. The adults are like blubbering idiots, like most of the shows on these Disney channels. I don't like that when the adults seem like they're idiots, and that's why the kids are running the show, and that's why the kids are front and center. You can have adults be adults and the kids be kids and the kids be funny without making them seem superior to the adults. One of the things that I love about Modern Family is the fact that they've always had the kids be just as smart and just as witty as the adults. They weren't just dumb kids sitting there with one-liners. They were actually being comedic forces just like the adults. So I don't see how Disney can't seem to get that together. But again, neither here nor there. I'm just going off on a tangent. But yeah, for this show to take place in the time that it does, a friend of mine and I were talking about the fact that, it's like, let's ride our bikes everywhere. And it's like, yeah, because that's the only transportation kids had back then. You had bikes. I mean, skateboards were a thing, but they weren't a thing like they were in the 90s. So 84 skateboards were coming about, but they weren't, they weren't the mode of transportation for kids. And then it's like, we went to the house, they're not there. We went here, they're not there. Like, how did people survive without cell phones? Nobody knows where anybody is. You had to sit by your phone and wait for such and such to call you. And if you happen to leave the house and 5 minutes later they call you, that's it. You don't know. They're gone. They're gone. Nobody knows where they are anymore. So I think that's what makes the show work, is the fact that it is set in a time that it's set. So if you want it to go for 7 and 8 season, they would have to be adults. And now they would be, in 1999, and people have cell phones. And then I don't think the whole mystery element and kids going out into the world and the adults don't know where they are and nobody can keep track with anybody, it wouldn't work with cell phones and pagers and all that kind of junk. So I am extra excited for Stranger Things to be renewed, of course. So we'll be talking about it this time next year. If I'm still doing a podcast, we'll be talking about how great it is, I'm sure, next year. And then moving on to my next topic, my ear candy. And this is going to round out the episode because I've talked more than enough for today. My throat is already like screaming at me for some odd reason. Oh yeah, because I run my mouth for no apparent reason. My ear candy and / critique is of Ed Sheeran's re-release of Perfect featuring Beyonce. This duet was released last Thursday, November 30th. And I remember hearing people talking about the fact that Ed Sheeran was re-releasing the song with Beyonce. This collaboration happened because Sheeran said he wanted to relaunch the song because as far as songs go, it was old, I guess, based on when it was released. Now, his album that this is off of, Divide, came out in 2017. I don't ever remember hearing this song until recently on the radio. So maybe it was released as a single and it took a minute for it to, get up onto the charts. I'm not sure, but he said that it was old. I've heard Shape of You. Shape of You, I remember being one of the first songs off of the album. To me, that song is an old song and would need a relaunch. But he says that this song is out, so he knows more about his album than I do. I've never even listened to his album. I've never listened to any of Ed Sheeran's albums. Ed Sheeran does turn out some hits, and I always say, like, oh, I'm going to listen to it, but then I never do. I remember when my son was an infant playing some Ed Sheeran, like Ed Sheeran had came onto the radio, and he was particularly fussy. And I don't even remember what song it was, but he got quiet. And I was like, oh my God. And then he fell asleep. And I was like, do we need to play Ed Sheeran all the time? Because if that's what needs to happen, I'm okay with that. But anyway, so yeah, this version is a little bit more acoustic than the original version off of, again, the album Divide. The original has a more orchestra, is more full-bodied. It's everything a song needs to have to be grand. It's a very grand song. When I listen to it, I actually really dig this song. I thought this is a perfect wedding song. I don't know how many people are probably going to have this song in their wedding in the next probably year, but it is a very good wedding song. The only problem that I had with it when I first heard it, because I'm like, oh yeah, this would be an awesome song for somebody's wedding. But the only thing is, it's only taken from the perspective of the guy, which is great. Of course, you had me talking about Kaley Cuoco and her, now fiance, Karl Cook, and more women wanting to be proposed to than there are men wanting to propose to a woman. So the fact that there's a love story where he's talking about she's perfect and he wants to only be with her for the rest of his life. Her heart is the only thing that he owns. That has a really sweet sentiment. But then I feel like that only makes the wedding and their love about how he feels and not how she feels. So I was like, in my mind, before I even heard about the whole Beyonce thing, I said, this should have been a duet, or it would be more perfect for a wedding if it was a duet where you had his side and then her side and the two of them together. So the fact that he came out and was like, oh, I'm going to do the duet with Beyonce, I was like, oh yes, it's actually going to happen. Like what I thought in my head is coming to fruition. And I love that. So this is how the song goes if you haven't heard it. I just heard it last night on my way to pick up my extra most bestest pizza last night from Little Caesar, # not sponsored. The song starts like the original with him opening up with the first verse. And like I said, it's more acoustic, so it's a lot more laid back. And I kind of like it a little bit more than I like the original version. It kind of just has like a more homey feel to it, a more cozy feel, I guess I want to say. Like I said, the original is on a more grander scale, like it's bigger, and this one is more, subdued and more intimate. So I dig the whole acoustic vibe, and I do like acoustic music a little bit more. There's certain albums that I've heard the original album, and then people go back and they do an acoustic version, and sometimes I dig the acoustic a little bit more because, like I said, it does feel a little bit more intimate, and I like that intimate feeling. But anyway, so he opens up the first verse, and it sounds just as good as the original track. She comes in on the second verse, and this is where most of my critiquing comes on this particular collaboration, because other than that, I really love the fact that it happened. She comes in full Beyonce. That's the only way that I can actually say what I mean. She comes in full Beyonce with her trills and her she comes in Beyonce-ish. There's a lot of artists that come in full of themselves. Christina Aguilera is one of them. She's one of them that does the whole it's Christina Aguilera because she's full on Christina Aguilera. And Beyonce does it as well. So she comes in full Beyonce, and it's okay, Beyonce, we know it's you. Your voice is something that can be picked out in a crowd. I get it. You're Beyonce. Cool. And then also, as she goes on, they add a harmony behind her singing that I feel is unnecessary as well. Ed Sheeran doesn't have harmony behind him singing, so why do you need a harmony behind you singing, your second verse? I think it's way, way too much. But as it goes on, the two of them come in together. He comes in, she comes in, and they're singing at the same time, and it sounds perfect. Pun intended. It is beautiful. And as the song goes on, once they both hooked up together, it is the most awesome sounding. Oh my God. I can't even put it to words because, she's a very good singer. Ed Sheeran is also a very good male performer. Like I said, I dig his music. I dig his voice. I think it sounds really good. So the two of them coming together and matching each other's tone and inflection and just harmonizing together, it is like butter. It melts. This song would get 100 stars in my eyes if Beyonce had done exactly what she did while she's singing with Ed Sheeran at the beginning of the second verse and cut all that harmonizing, the extra harmony out of it. You don't need the extra vocals. She doesn't need that. Add that extra vocals for somebody who's not a very good singer who's helping somebody out. Don't do that to Beyonce. Beyonce doesn't need the extra vocals. But if she had done exactly what they did at the end of the song, at the beginning of the song, it would get 100 stars and I would play it to the end of time. But because of that middle part, it makes me not like it. But at the same time, I do see this version being something more like if I got remarried. If we did like a vow renewal, wanting this particular song as the first dance song and not the song that we chose, which is not about love at all. We've come to find out years later that song is not about love. It's Chris Isaak's Wicked Game, which is really a song about obsessive love. It's not a song about like being in love. It's like being like crazy stalkerish. But my husband, when we first started dating, sent me flowers and put one of the lyrics from the song, which was really sweet, onto this note. And so like when we were picking out the song for our first dance, I'm like, of course it has to be that song. You sent me flowers with words from that song. But then when you listen to it, you're like, oh yeah, no, he's like crazy. He's like stalking this girl. But it is what it is. So, but yeah, I would totally use this as a song as my first dance because you have him saying, she's perfect. We met when we were younger. We didn't know what to do with it. And then she says, oh yeah, we're going to have children together. We're going to carry our secrets together. And it's a beautiful sentiment. And the two of them singing it is so great. So I wish, again, ear candy, I can't play the song. I wish I could play you a snippet. It sucks. But, I'm sure if you go on to Google, if you turn on your local radio station, as we were pulling into the driveway at my house and I turned off my phone, it was playing on the radio station. So I was playing it on Spotify and it was playing on the radio station not 10 minutes later. So you're probably going to hear it in the next couple of weeks played out like, whoa. Because like I said, I only recently heard Perfect maybe in the last month or so. Him re-releasing it with Beyonce, everything she touches turns to gold. So I feel like they're going to be playing that version a lot more than the original version, which again, I dig both of them. I dig the sentiment behind the second one more than I dig the first one, but I really dig the collaboration. And if you really want to hear it, you don't want to sit by the dial of the radio station, go on Google, and they do have on YouTube a lyrical video. Vivo has the original video, so there's all kinds of ways that you can find it. I just wish that there was a way that I could play it for you, but I can't, and I shouldn't dwell on it. So I just gotta let it go. And but yeah, that is it. That is today's show. Oh, a sigh of relief. A sigh of relief. I'm hungry. No, I'm not. I'm not even hungry. I'm lying to myself. I said that I'm hungry, and it's only because I just got a text message saying, do you want to eat, by my neighbor. So it's like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I want to eat, even though I'm not hungry. I need to get back on track because, like I said, I need to work out and all that kind of junk, and I've just been slacking. So at least I'm not gorging on food, but I don't know. I went off a couple tangents here today. I did, but I think I was a lot more on track than I've ever been in a long time. So, give me some kudos, guys, or claps, slow claps, one clap, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that's today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you get to go online and find that ear candy that I deem to be the wedding song of 2017 rolling into 2018. And that's it. Follow me on social media. I am on Instagram and on Facebook as Mommy's Media Medium. I am on Twitter as Miss Mackenzie. And that is it. I bid you adieu. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great week. I hope I don't have any mishaps with me not being insured. Again, cross your fingers that the universe doesn't hate me too much. And that is it. I will talk to you next week. Bye, guys.